Hi, I'm Shandy. And do you hear that beautiful singing? Ooh.
Oh no. Hi, I'm Craig. And do you know the missing link?
Hi, I'm Kylie. And if you find a body, it's probably best not to take it home with you. And this is Seance with my siblings, Wyoming Cryptids edition.
Ooh.
Welcome to the Seance.
Okay, it was supposedly the summer of 1934 in central Wyoming.
Allegedly.
Cecil Main and Frank Carr, two prospectors, found themselves at the foot of a high point in the Pedro Mountains, down the east side of the Pathfinder Reservoir.
I like that we get actual names.
Yes.
Not just these two prospectors.
No, they were real dudes.
Real
dudes.
Real dudes. The two set a charge, and the explosion ripped open the earth to reveal a cave. Cecil made his way into the small cave, and within the cave, they found a rock ledge about 2.5 feet above the ground. There was no gold. The cave was empty, except for the mummy. Also known
Not
as
the mummy.
Pedro.
Pedro.
Pedro had the look of a small, wise man sitting on the ledge, eyes closed, arms crossed, and feet tucked beneath him. The skin of the mummy was brown and dried. The mouth was a tiny scowl, and the head misshapen. When the initial shock wore off, Maine snatched the tiny mummy, hoping that its strangeness might make it worth something. It measured about 6.5 inches tall, and an estimated 17 inches if it were to stand upright. It weighed just a little over a pound. Cecil and Frank showed off their discovery in Casper, Wyoming, the following day. And there were reports that they were ridiculed as peddling nonsense.
Was this in the same time as the traveling sideshows that would have gaffs? So like Fiji mermaids and stuff like that are...
The 1930s, so
yes.
Yeah,
okay. So, of course, people would be wary because there's all these gaffs around that are not real cryptids. They're not anything but a fish and a monkey sewn together.
Yep.
Gross. Don't do that.
No. Don't do that. Cecil and Frank showed off their discovery in Casper, Wyoming. Oh, I said that. They did that the following day. They were ridiculed. It was also in Casper where the legend of the Pedro Mountain mummy took on a life of its own.
Ooh.
There are some mixed up dates. So, in the early days of the mummy, there was some confusion with the dates. An article in the Casper Tribune Herald dated October 21st, 1932, not 1934, mentioned the finding of the mummy.
Oh.
Years later, another article in the Casper Star Tribune dated November 30th, 1934, also mentioned the discovery of the mummy as having occurred in 1932 with the headline, "Mummy found 2 years ago in Pedro Mountains is a puzzle to science today."
Okay.
However, in a sworn affidavit given by Cecil Main, the guy that found the mummy, on November 13th, 1936, he claims that he and Carr found the mummy in 1934. Rather odd, don't you think?
So how was that paper in 1932? They could just see the future.
Yes. It's easier to believe that Maine was mistaken about the date than to believe that two different newspapers in Casper got it wrong. Unless there is some supernatural element surrounding the discovery of Pedro.
Okay.
If so, how could the Tribune Herald know of a mummy discovery that had not yet happened? Hold on to your butts, because there's more confusion.
We're going to hold on to our butts.
Clench those cheeks. Maine also claimed in the affidavit that he was no longer in possession of the mummy because he sold it in April of 1934 to a man named Homer F. Sherrill from Crawford, Nebraska, who loaned it out to the Field Museum in Chicago, Illinois. However, there's no record of the mummy having been displayed during that time, but it could have been an undocumented holding. The mummy was then brought mainstream again when a man named Paul Martin did an examination on the mummy on the museum's behalf in the 1950s. Pedro's first tour. Frank Carr passed shortly after the discovery of the mummy. Did the mummy bring bad luck? I don't know. Maine never manages to make any money from Pedro, named for the mountains he was found in. Did I mention that already? I will mention it now.
I don't think so.
Okay, Pedro was named after the mountains he was found in because too many people thought it was a scam or a hoax. There are old newspaper clippings stating that Pedro was the center of controversy locally for years, some calling it a hoax, while others were of the belief that the mummy was actually proof of the legendary race of small folk called the Namirigar, a long-standing tale from the Shoshone tribe. According to the legend, the Namirigar were aggressive and strong people who would shoot poisoned arrows from tiny bows. The Shoshone lore also stated that the Namirigar would kill their own people with a blow to the head if they became too ill to be a participating member of society, explaining the misshapen head of the mummy. Folklore says they live in the Wind River and Pedro ranges of Wyoming, so that tracks. Stories of the Namirigar traveled up and down the Rocky Mountains. The range begins in the Canadian provinces of British Columbia and Alberta, then travels southward into the United States from Idaho and Montana through northern New Mexico. The Namirigar adults range between 2 and 3 feet tall, with a row of sharp canine teeth. The Namirigar waged war and raided the Shoshone and Paiute tribes. These people were not nice or friendly. The Namirigar, just to clarify that. Parents were afraid the Namirigar would come and kidnap their children. The tribal elders were worried the Namirigar would cause the tribe to self-destruct. It seems these little people liked playing pranks and tricks. The Namirigar set innocent people up with not so innocent antics. So they liked to make people not be alive anymore.
Oh my God.
They liked to unalive humans.
Yes.
Other humans.
The Rocky Mountain tribes joined forces and defeated the Namirigar, as the legend says. Many Native American tribes actually have a story about little people. The Comanche call them the Nunupis or Nunupai. The Cherokee refer to them as Yumwi, and the Hawaiians call them the Menehune. It's difficult not to believe that there is some truth to a race of little people. It is a widespread legend, and all tales contain some elements of truth. Pedro had a few x-rays done by the University of Wyoming in the 1950s because they were skeptical and believed it a hoax. So they ran extensive tests, and they showed the mummy is an adult. The results surprised everyone.
So I bet a lot of people thought this was just like a baby that died at birth or something.
Yes. Carbon dating reveals that the mummy was not only an adult, he was 65 years old when he died, with pointed teeth and a full set of canines. Sound familiar?
No.
Later examinations revealed that it was more likely an anencephalic infant. In the 1990s, anthropologist George Gill examined another mummy that was an anencephalic infant. DNA testing showed it to be Native American, and radiocarbon dating dated it back to 1700. Whichever report you believe, that the mummy is a 65-year-old man or that the mummy is an anencephalic infant, rumors say that the mummy brought bad luck to anyone who owned it. The Native Americans continue to warn people to be wary of the tiny people eaters, and they still believe that the Namirigar live in the Rocky Mountains.
I don't want to meet them.
No. The mummy does match the description of the Namirigar if you believe the earlier reports, and in the 1800s, stories appeared in Nashville and Middle Tennessee newspapers. stories about a massive cemetery discovered in Coffee County, Tennessee.
Oh, yeah. I've heard about this.
Which contained 75,000 to 100,000 tiny bodies.
Mm-hmm.
The dead bodies were either sitting or standing when uncovered. Coffee County farmers found the grave by plowing the field, uncovering a series of smaller graves. The size of the remains had people thinking it was a graveyard filled with children. Upon further investigation, their skulls had wisdom teeth, and usually wisdom teeth appear between the ages of 17 and 25 years old. The bodies were adults and not children. The bodies belonged to people no bigger than 3 feet tall. 40 years older, near Cocoton, Ohio, investigators discovered another mass grave full of similar small bodies.
Okay.
There seems to be a lot of documented credence to the legends.
Whether or not it was like a cryptid or just like another race that has gone extinct.
Because they were so violent that the other indigenous tribes had to band together, it sounds like, and defeat them so that they would stop killing them.
Yes.
Fair. Don't kill.
Don't kill. The discoveries raised questions about whether the Shoshone legends contain elements of truth, especially where you have 2 burial grounds discovered with thousands of small bodies. And Native American legends about such a race and stories of clashes and wars with these people passed down for generations. Back to Pedro.
Oh, more Pedro.
More Pedro.
More Pedro.
More Pedro. Homer Sherrill, remember him, the man from Nebraska that Cecil Maine claims to have sold Pedro to, may not have put Pedro actually into the Field Museum. Rather, he likely owned the mummy for at least 7 years and made a quick buck every now and then exhibiting the mummy to passing motorists. Eugene?
Cute.
Yeah. Eugene Bashore recalled seeing the mummy in a roadside attraction in Casper in 1936 for 25 cents that he had begged off of his father. The experience left Eugene with a thirst for knowledge and the ambition to learn as much about the tiny mummy as he possibly could. Pedro changed hands once again, ending up with a man named Floyd Jones, who put the mummy on display in his drugstore.
Oh,
So,
great.
yeah. A man named Ivan Goodman saw the mummy in the mid-1940s and thought it would look better in his car dealership.
Oh.
So respectful.
So respectful.
Respectfully displaying history.
Yay. Yeah. Especially if it is like a...
If it really dates back to the 1700s and it is, in fact, a mummified baby.
Yeah.
Or even a small...
Yeah. Either way, it's not cool.
Respectful. It's not, teaching anyone about the history of this mummy.
And there are actually acts in place right now that, like, any relics or bodies or anything, like, need to be returned to the indigenous peoples of which they come from.
As it should be.
Yes. But this was the 1940s, so of course it was nonsense.
The 1940s were a very wild time.
Yes. So it's in Ivan Goodman's car dealership now, and he apparently bought it for several $1,000s.
So he still has it in his car dealership?
No.
Oh, okay. I was like, really? Okay, but he did, yes.
But it
was there.
Yes.
And he did pay thousands of dollars for it.
Yes. And he used it to attract people to his car lot. At that point, he was seated on a wooden platform and encased under a glass dome. Pedro the mummy, not Ivan Goodman. So at this point, Pedro had been around the block a few times. He's a well-traveled dude. Unfortunately, the timeline and facts discovered after Cecil Maine's affidavit are sketchy, but Ivan Goodman's ownership in the 1950s is certain, as it was confirmed by his son, Dixon Goodman of Casper, Wyoming. It was Ivan Goodman who took the mummy to Dr. Harry Shapiro to examine it and take x-rays and send films to George Gill, the professor of biological anthropology at the University of Wyoming. The whereabouts of Pedro have been lost to time, and he has not been seen now for over 63 years.
So we have a little missing guy.
We have a missing guy. In the early 1990s, interest in the mummy remained strong. A popular episode of the television series Unsolved Mysteries, filmed in 1994, featured a story and included an interview with Dr. Gill.
Oh, interesting. We should watch that.
We should watch that. As a result, a Wyoming rancher brought him another mummy, which was found in 1929 or thereabouts in the Pedro Mountain area. Gil sent it to the Denver Children's Hospital and also examined it himself, obtaining x-rays, DNA sample, and a radiocarbon date. These results, Gil said, confirmed everything that I have ever thought about the Pedro Mountain mummy, including the diagnosis of ancephaly. So, what do you guys think? Is the Pedro Mountain mummy gone for good?
Until the rich person who's hoarding it dies and their collection becomes put up for auction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or it's sitting in someone's attic right now, just gathering dust.
It's in a shoebox in some grandma's attic space. I wonder, the car lot guy's son, I wonder if he knows who it went to after his dad. It might be in his attic.
It might be. It might be. Maybe. If you have information about Pedro,
please
let us know. Is the Pedro Mountain mummy? Oh, I asked you guys that.
I think it's a baby.
Yeah. Do you guys think it's more likely a human baby, or do you agree with the earlier examination that claims it was a 65-year-old at the time of death, had a full set of teeth, and fused skull with the remains of meat in its stomach?
I think it's a baby. I believe the 1950s testing and the radiocarbon dating. I mean, I don't know. Science, maybe?
Science.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
As what she is, also science.
Also science.
Also
yes.
science.
Yeah. That I'm of that same. That's what I think.
They go hand
because we're the same person.
Yeah. It is interesting though, like the mass graves that they found and
that is really interesting. Yes. And I have only dug into that a little bit.
Yeah.
But I wonder, where did they keep those tombs there, or what happened to those bodies that they found? Like, did they
I am actually not sure
them somewhere? More research should be done.
More research should be done.
Okay.
Yeah. That's all I've got for y'all.
That was lovely.
Yay.
Wow, what
a wild ride.
Maybe cryptid. Maybe a whole race of people who were
very violent.
And were also stomped out out of just necessity from the other people in the area.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot.
It's just funny that race of people is across continents. It's in different areas. Like, it's documented by many different people that wouldn't have had contact with each other.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think there's something
so
especially like Hawaii is its own little island.
Well, lots of little islands.
Yes.
Big island. It's its own place.
Its own thing is.
And back in the long ago, it was not easy to get there for people in Wyoming.
No.
Or other areas in America or anywhere. Yeah. So that's that gives it a lot of credence. All of these different people in different places with the same findings.
Yes. Yeah.
Woo.
Okay.
Thanks, Kai.
You're welcome.
It's me next?
Yeah.
It's me next.
Yay.
Okay. So, Wyoming is part of Big Sky Country and home to the Yellowstone National Park.
Yay.
It is also home to the Yellowstone Lake.
Ooh.
This lake holds a potential mythical cryptid called a siren.
Ooh.
Wikipedia says, in Greek mythology, sirens are female human-like beings with alluring voices. They appear in a scene in the Odyssey in which Odysseus saves his crew's lives from the siren song. I think he puts wax in their ears, but he instructs them to tie him to the mast of the ship so that he can hear the song but not be drawn to it and go die.
Okay.
And in the Odyssey, the sirens were half bird, half women.
Okay.
Or like bird-like with women faces.
Okay.
Yes.
Because so like other sirens are mermaid.
Yes.
Like.
So more like harpies then.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So sirens started out originally as bird-like, but then over time have switched to mermaidian.
Okay.
Because I just made that word up.
Mermaidian.
Mermaidian cryptid.
What's in The Little Mermaid? What's their little? Oh, that's not the same. Atlantica is. I was like, wait,
I don't know. Okay, so that's what a siren is, everyone.
Yay.
Roman poets place them on some small islands called I'm sorry, everyone. Sirenum Scopuli. I don't know, man. Scopuli. There we go. So could it be true? Could half women, half fish mythical beings be living in Wyoming in Wyoming in a national park visited by thousands and thousands of people?
Yes.
Yes, Craig can confirm. Craig said so.
Yes.
It must be true.
Must be true.
No one else has.
No, I'm fighting.
Well,
Holy shit.
I know.
Breaking news.
Woo!
Craig has seen the Yellowstone Lake sighting sirens. Yep.
Pop off, Craig. Oh, God.
There are many stories of people hearing unexplained whispers, singing, and even the sound of actual sirens. Think Siren Head.
Mm.
That's my siren impression.
Futility Closet, which is a website, which that name.
That's
It's
fun.
really
That's
best.
fun. That's very fun.
So Futility Closet has gathered these personal experiences of people hearing these sirens.
Ooh. Okay.
Potential sirens.
Okay.
So while getting breakfast, we heard every few moments a curious sound between a whistle and a horse's whinny, whose locality and character could not at first be determined.
Okay.
This was from a person named F.H. Bradley in 1872.
Okay.
Next, it seemed to begin at a distance and grow louder overhead where it filled the upper air and suggested a medley of wind in the top of pine trees and in telegraph wires. The echo of bells after began repeated several times, the humming of a swarm of bees, and 2 or 3 other less definite sources of sound. Edwin Linton, 1892.
Okay.
It's put me in a mind of vibrating clang of a harp lightly and rapidly touched high up above the tree tops, or the sound of many telegraph wires. There is it again, telegraph wires.
Interesting.
Which modern people don't know what that sounds like.
I know. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I'll have to look that up.
Yeah. Or the sound of many telegraph wires swinging regularly and rapidly in the wind. Or, more rarely, a faintly heard voices answering each other overhead.
Interesting.
Ooh.
Is telegraphs like the do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do?
A telegraph. Yeah, that's Morse code, right? A telegraph is a machine that would send letters, like you could wire people a message.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what that is. So
Okay.
the wires that transferred that blowing in the wind.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. And if I'm wrong,
Sorry.
sorry about it. I was not gonna, it's just, yes. This is just what these people said. So this last one, I didn't even finish what they said.
Oops.
This is the last one. So this person, H.M. Chittenden, in 1915 said they resembled the ringing of telegraph wires or the humming of a swarm of bees beginning softly in the distance, growing rapidly plainer until directly overhead and then fading as rapidly in the opposite direction.
Okay. Do
Interesting.
you guys think it was telegraph wire?
In the middle of a national park? No.
Well, if it sounded like overhead, maybe it was like echoing from somewhere nearby.
Maybe. I don't. That would be interesting to know where
The
nearest,
closest
yes,
one?
because this lake is in the middle of a national park that is undisturbed by that sort of thing. So interesting. But it's in mountains, so it could echo.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I guess, and that too would depend on how loud telegraph wires are.
Right. I have no answers.
I have no idea. Sorry, I have lots
answers.
of questions.
I do too. I wanted to read these together, so I didn't read all of these experiences. I didn't realize all of it is described the same way, but more modern experiences that were not accredited to actual people, so I didn't write it down, like type it out. But a lot of them are saying it sounds like singing, like actual voices.
Okay.
And so all of this humming of bee swarms and stuff like that is more in these earlier reports, which have actual human names attached to them.
Okay.
But nowhere could I find that anyone has actually seen.
Okay. It's all just
Only me.
It's all of these.
only
Yeah.
Craig.
Only Craig. Sorry, only Craig has seen.
No,
So I love that names and dates were included in the personal encounters. It feels like it lends more credibility, even though I don't know any of these people personally. I think we can say it is true. People are hearing strange noises coming from Lake Yellowstone. However, we do need to hear from the debunkers.
Yeah.
Bringing us back to reality. Maybe. Potential reality.
Oh, there goes gravity, or whatever
Nope.
Eminem said.
Oh.
I don't
He's
know.
like, back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Okay. I don't listen to Eminem. Anyway.
God, I'm sorry.
Don't be. That's part of the fun of hanging out together. So we need to hear from the debunkers before we can draw conclusions on this cryptid, right?
Right.
Here are some of the possible explanations put forth by the debunking population. Geological activity. Yellowstone is located in a region with significant geothermal activity, including geysers, hot springs, and fumaroles. I don't know what that is.
Fumaroles?
Fumaroles, like Fumaroles.
Fumaroles? Or
Fumaroles? I don't know.
Right.
Craig's like, this is Spanish. I know it.
no.
I think your Spanish class is taking
Yeah.
over your brains. It's possible that underground shifts or gases escaping from the geothermal vents could create strange sounds.
Okay.
Wind and water interaction. The shape of the landscape, wind patterns, and specific environment of Yellowstone Lake may contribute to unique acoustic effects that could produce siren-like noises.
Okay.
Because it's funny, some of the things they say, it sounds like an actual siren.
Okay.
And it's like, okay, we all need to get our stories straight.
That sounds like a kid read it and didn't know what like a siren was. They only knew like wee woo sirens.
Yes. Because the siren head came up in my research. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm sure it sounds like that.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Animal calls. Some have speculated that the sounds might be caused by animals such as birds or other wildlife whose calls could be amplified by the lake's acoustics.
Okay.
I could see that.
That makes sense.
And tectonic activity. As Yellowstone is a supervolcano, there is the possibility of tectonic or volcanic activity influencing sound patterns, but there's little evidence to suggest this is a regular or significant occurrence.
Okay.
So, what do y'all think? Could there be sirens in Yellowstone Lake?
Craig's seen them.
I mean,
There you have it. It's true.
yep,
You heard it here first.
there are.
With the sounds, I am leaning more toward some sort of natural
Yeah,
cause.
definitely.
It's either animals or there really was like a telegraph line echoing because that was the
Or the tectonic activity, something going on in the lake, under the lake, is making those noises.
Yeah, I can see that.
And
Yeah.
could it be a multitude of things?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
most things in life, it's
Yeah.
never just one thing you can pinpoint. It's a bunch of things
Multi-factors.
coming together to create what is happening.
Yeah, probably that one.
That one.
I say that to my clients all the time. They're like, I can't pinpoint just this certain thing. And I'm like, because it's not one
It's
thing.
not one
It's
thing.
a bunch of things that have led to this.
All the things.
All the things.
Yeah.
So just remember that in your lives.
Yeah.
Anyway, being a human's hard. There's not sirens in Yellowstone Lake.
Womp,
Womp.
Or maybe there are. I've seen them. And I'm not calling you a liar.
I'm not calling you a
liar.
Oh,
Okay, Craig.
This is
All
a
right.
musical podcast now.
yes.
Don't tempt me with a good time.
Go listen to Florence and the Machine.
Good soup.
Okay. Is Sasquatch the missing link? Or something different
Ooh.
entirely?
Ooh, I don't know.
Tell
Let us
us.
find out. You may find the answer in Wyoming, where Bigfoot sightings pop up here and there. In total, there have been 12 Bigfoot reported encounters. Yes. In Wyoming since 1970.
Oh.
So, when I first started that, I was like, Only 12?
That's what I was
Yeah.
just sitting here thinking. Like, really? Only 12 since 1970?
That's wild.
Bigfoot does try to be not noticed.
That is true,
because he's a ghost.
True.
Yes, he doesn't like it.
He
says, "Don't look at me."
interdimensional being.
Yes. 100%.
It's a ghost.
A ghosty boy.
Boo.
I think he is an whatever.
Dimensional
Yes.
being.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%.
That's why he can just poof in and poof out.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there's no bodies.
Nobody.
No bodies. I have a story about that.
Oh,
Sorry.
Full shot.
Half of those, that's okay. Half of those reports were in the Shoshone National Forest, National Forest between Cody and Yellowstone, along the US 14, US 16, US 20 route. The highway is one of the state's busiest in the summer. Only one of those 6 reports were in the actual boundary of Yellowstone National Park. And it showed like a map with spread out, like vastly spread out locations of these sightings.
Okay.
So that's interesting as well.
That is interesting.
Because he's interdimensional and can boop, boop, boop,
Boop, boop, boop. All over.
bing bong,
All over. Wherever
all
you
over.
want.
Because he's Sasquatch. Anyway.
Is Sasquatch and Bigfoot the same?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Bigfoot.
Is that a hot take or is that for realsies?
That's
That's
Sasquatch has variety. Like there's the Yeti.
Yeti, yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's the Sasquatch.
There's different types of Sasquatches.
Bigfoot is just like a nickname.
Oh,
A generalization.
Yeah.
yes.
Thank you.
Mhm.
And apparently he doesn't like being called that,
Oh.
according to, I can't remember her name. Someone,
Said that.
Said
Is
that.
it the woman that has the Bigfoot museum?
probably.
Man.
Probably.
The nurse that lost her marbles during COVID?
Mm.
Maybe she didn't lose her marbles. She just wanted to pursue her passion project.
Yeah, Bigfoot. Or Sasquatch.
I know. Yeah.
Go off, Queen. Yes. Only one. Wait. Yeah. Only one of the 6 reports were in the actual boundaries of Yellowstone National Park, with the majority coming just a few miles outside of the park. There have also been sightings in Montana, Colorado, Idaho,
Utah.
and South Dakota. Utah, yes.
In the Appalachian Mountains.
The Appalachian Mountains and the Rocky Mountains.
They're just everywhere.
They're
Everywhere.
everywhere.
Mhm.
They're everywhere. Because
They're not contained to time and space.
Yeah.
Yeah, with dozens of sightings making the Rockies one of the most likely regions for the chance to see Bigfoot.
Woo.
Oh,
Yes.
no.
There
There
are
he
There
Bigfoot.
he is. It's
Or
about
nor.
to get loud.
Ruh-roh. Okay, fun fact. Sasquatch.
Sorry, Greg.
No, you're good. Sasquatch derives from the Salish word "se" apostrophe sxac saskas.
Save the turtles.
Which means wild men. Yes. So, a first encounter is the 1972 Wind River Mountains encounter, a turning point. Bum, bum, bum. One of the most compelling and well-documented Bigfoot encounters in Wyoming occurred in the summer of 1972 in the remote Wind River Mountains. The witness, John
Oh, shit. Minozinski?
Mion Kaczynski?
Yes, there.
Kaczynski
It's probably
Mion
that.
That one.
Kaczynski.
was a wildlife biologist working for the U.S. Forest Services and Wyoming Game and Fish Department, conducting a study that required him to live in the wilderness for an extended period. John's background and experience lend significant credibility to his account as a trained biologist with expertise studying large mammals like grizzly bears. He was well equipped to identify and describe any unusual creatures he might encounter. Late one night, while in his tent, John felt a large, heavy presence pressing against the outside of his shelter.
Was it a man?
It was a man with big feet.
That's like a common thing with Bigfoot, isn't it?
Mhm.
Is like feeling a presence before they.
Before you
Because they're
actually see them.
interdimensional
Yeah.
beings.
Yes.
They open that portal and you're like,
They're
portal.
powerful magically, so
They
you
are.
can feel that,
yes.
right?
Right.
The whole field changes around
Yes.
them.
Mm-hmm.
As they slurp from one dimension to the next.
Ew. Imagining Bigfoot like disgusting. Okay.
Sorry.
No, you're good. It's funny. With the He struck the creature through the tent wall with the back of his hand.
Damn!
Savage. Causing it to retreat briefly. However, the creature returned, this time standing upright and casting a shadow that indicated it was taller than the tent itself.
Oh, shit.
In a chilling moment, John clearly saw the silhouette of a large human-like hand with an opposable thumb.
No! Impossible.
Not an opposable thumb. Yeah. Okay, so...
Yeah.
Opposable thumb pressed against the tent. The creature's hand was estimated to be twice the size of John's. So that's
It's a big hand.
big
It's a big
hand.
hand.
and big feet.
I say about guys that have big feet. They need big shoes.
Big shoes for Bigfoot. Yes.
I'm not sorry.
Period. After collapsing the tent on top of the startled biologist, the creature retreated. But John could still hear its slow, deep breathing and the sound of it throwing pine cones at him for nearly an hour. He's like, yeet.
Come on.
Yeah, he's just a precious baby.
I would have went out there and been like, motherfucker,
Stop throwing pine cones.
if you want to chill, let's chill. Like, do you want a beer?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on?
It
Stop
sounds
it.
like John started it by whacking him on the
Yeah.
He's like, oh, you want to play?
I'm not sure what Bigfoot is thinking, or sorry, Sasquatch is thinking, but, you know,
He was
Yeah.
popping off.
I feel like stop throwing pine cones and just tell me what the fuck you want.
Yeah.
You want some dinner? Do you want a treat? Do you want a
wants a treat
beer?
treat.
He,
And
there
a beer.
are other stories of him throwing things too,
Like,
like
Boulders.
rocks and boulders and trees.
Don't throw a boulder at my camper, asshole.
It's
Yeah.
not a rock.
it's a boulder.
Oh, hurrah. Sorry, SpongeBob.
Sorry. Yeah,
Yeah.
don't do it.
Oh dear.
Shaken by the experience, John reported the incident to his superiors and learned that there had been a rash of similar sightings in the area that summer. Determined
Okay.
to investigate further, yes, he interviewed 25 other witnesses and even collected hair samples from a cabin where a young man claimed to have shot at the creature.
Oh.
Savage.
Rude.
So rude. Poor Bigfoot and Sasquatch. The, the hair samples were analyzed by renowned forensic anthropologist Walter Birkby,
Mhm.
who concluded that they belonged to a primate species not native to Wyoming. Yeah, this
But did they get the dunna?
the dunna,
It's in my dunna.
the groundbreaking evidence of Bigfoot seemed to support the existence of Bigfoot in the region, but John's superiors were less than enthusiastic. In fact, they warned him against associating with the Bigfoot label, threatening termination if he continued his research. A bunch of jerks.
They're like, you will not make a mockery of our fine institution. Stop
Literally.
this
How
nonsense.
dare you.
Post haste, because Daddy says so.
Stop it.
Daddy. The father. I love him.
I do not want to marry Bigfoot. Y'all can have the big feet.
Mm.
I'm afraid of cryptids. I'm still afraid. I still don't want
They
it.
do be doing spooky things.
They do.
Just-
Throwing pine cones at you? Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're kidding.
I was like,
Shut the fuck up and let me finish.
No. Despite the resistance from the scientific community, bunch of jerks, the 1972 Wind River Mountains encounter remains one of the most compelling and well-documented Bigfoot sightings in Wyoming's history, and a turning point in the state's Sasquatch lore. Hell yeah.
Ooh.
Another notable Bigfoot sighting. Wyoming Bigfoot sighting. While the 1972 Wind River Mountains encounter may be the most famous Bigfoot sighting in Wyoming, it's far from the only one. Over the years, there have been numerous reports of Sasquatch actively throughout the state, many from credible witnesses like experienced outdoorsmen, hunters, and even park rangers. Pop off. One such sighting occurred in Yellowstone National Park in 2002.
Ooh,
When-
that was recent.
That's recent. When a family of four spotted a tall, hairy humanoid figure walking along a ridge about 300 yards away. The creature, estimated to be between 8 and 10 feet tall, was observed in broad daylight, and the family was Or
Adamant. The family was abandoned by onlookers because they're like, fuck you, that's your
that's
problem
not
now.
Bigfoot. The family was adamant that it could not have been a bear or any other known animal. Another notable encounter took place in the late 1990s in the forested areas between Cody and Yellowstone. Two brothers who were out cutting timber witnessed a large bipedal creature covered in hair, dark hair. Bipedal, that means on 2 feet.
I just like
Two big
that
feet.
word. It's just fun to say. Bipedal.
Bipedal.
Bipeds.
Bipeds.
Quadrupeds.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Walking across a slope near the river where they were working, the creature was estimated to be up to 10 feet tall and had a mass that was inconsistent with that of a bear.
That's big.
It's
Yes.
big.
That's big.
I think too big to... I don't think people should be having sex with it.
No,
I'm just saying. All these people that want to sleep with a Bigfoot,
not a good idea.
maybe don't.
Yeah,
Maybe
mayhaps
don't.
Physical evidence in Native American folklore.
Woo!
Yippee. In addition to eyewitness accounts, there have been several instances of physical evidence supporting the presence of Bigfoot in Wyoming. In the late 1900s, a series of large human-like footprints bum, 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 were discovered in the snow near the town of Atlantic. The prints were measured up to 18 inches in length, were analyzed by experts, and found to be consistent with the characteristics of Bigfoot tracks
Ooh.
that we have, rather than those of any other animal. So,
Okay.
yeah. Similarly, in 2012, a hunter in the Beaverhead Mountains near Argenta, Montana, just across the border from Wyoming, reported finding a large fresh footprint measured around 30 inches in length.
Dang.
That's a big
That's a
footprint.
big
That's a big
footprint.
footprint.
The experienced outdoorsman was convinced that the print could only have been made by a Bigfoot-like creature. Because yes, while physical evidence like footprints can be compelling, it's important to approach such findings with a degree of skepticism. After all, tracks can be faked, and without additional evidence, it can be difficult to draw definitive conclusions. However, when considering alongside the numerous eyewitness accounts and the historical context of Bigfoot sightings in the region, these discoveries add another layer of intrigue to the mystery. Yes.
Yes.
The Shoshone, for example, have a legend about a creature known as Nantinak, said to inhabit the remote areas of Wyoming, particularly around the Portlock region.
Ooh.
This legend, passed down through generations, described a large hairy bipedal creature that bears a striking resemblance to the modern conception of Bigfoot. These Native American legends and folklore add another layer of depth to the Bigfoot mystery in Wyoming.
Okay.
So, yes. Sorry, that felt a wee bit rushed, or like I was talking fast. Not
You did
rushed.
great.
But
You're doing great.
Yes.
You're doing a good job.
yes. Okay. So I have a experience from Dad and Grandpa Jensen.
Oh, yay.
Yes.
So Dad retold me this morning, and I asked him if I could use it on the pod. He was like, yeah, I'm Dad.
He's giving dad energy.
Yes, Dad energy.
And if you hear someone talking in the background,
That's Dad.
Dad.
And our brother
And
Chase.
Chasey.
They're very loud.
they are loud.
And we're getting ready to go for a side-by-side ride, so everybody is gathering.
Yes.
To see Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
Potentially.
going Sasquatching. We're out squatching.
We're
Out
today.
squatching today. I thought you were going to say to death.
We're squatching today.
Yes, okay. So Dad and Grandpa were up Fairview Canyon, like by Fairview Lake in that area.
It's beautiful.
If anyone's familiar, it is
It's
very, very
beautiful.
pretty. They were driving past a open field, and they usually will stop and look at everything. They have like binoculars in their car, you know, like typical.
They're ridiculous.
Yeah, typical things.
They're very curious cats.
Yes.
I thought I saw an elk.
Yeah.
There's a huge herd of elk over that ridge.
There's a huge herd of elk over that
I need
ridge.
to go investigate.
Our dad is famous for that.
Yes.
Yes.
There's
They
elk
always
everywhere
stop.
over a ridge,
Yeah.
just out of
Just over the
sight,
ridge.
out of
Yep.
reach.
Exactly.
So we got to keep going because they're just
They're
over
just
the ridge.
there.
Yep. Exactly.
Anyway, sorry, Dad.
Love you, Dad.
What's the way they do like the heart now? I don't freaking know.
And I have
fingers.
arthritis, so I don't have to know.
We're old. This is the heart.
This is a heart. Yes. Okay.
A love heart.
A love heart.
A love heart.
You have to be specific.
Not
Not Atlantic.
Not Atlantic.
Anyway, oh my gosh. I'm so sorry, Craig. Tell
No,
the
you're
story.
okay. You're okay.
Jesus.
We're
But
all
yeah.
girls.
Dad and Grandpa see this thing. He described it as having thick elk-like fur, and it was just like a hump kind of laying down. He said it looked like it was about 7 to 8 feet tall, like laying,
Mm-hmm.
and like 4 feet
Like it's a big,
tall,
wide
like
boy.
sleeping. Yeah,
Yeah.
like big, wide boulder boy. And
Boulder boy.
there were no boulders in the area to note, he said. There was some sagebrush, but like it was just vastly
It's
open
like an
field.
open prairie land.
Yeah, exactly. They did not stop, but they drove by, and then they finally decided, why didn't we stop? Like, let's turn around, look
They
at
thought it
that.
was weird. Like they remember,
Yeah, like-
they're like, we stop and look at everything.
Yeah.
But they got like a feeling like to just keep going. Like
Yeah,
it was like
they
a
got this-
glamour on
Mhm,
them.
exactly.
Yes.
Yes, they got that. Keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And when they went back, there was nothing there. Bigfoot had vanished.
He's like,
Mm.
oh, they found my napping spot. They caught me
Yeah,
sleeping.
he was pissed.
Womp womp.
That grass was probably comfortable for the Bigfoot. But yeah.
I
Yeah.
should lay not so close to the road.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Perhaps you'll get spotted there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 That's a fun story.
That is a fun story.
But yeah, that's Bigfoot.
So do you
Sasquatch.
guys think Bigfoot is real?
Maybe.
Could be.
I'm open to it.
I'm open
I
to
hate
it.
it and I don't want it because I'm afraid he's going to eat me in the not in a fun way.
Like, could be the missing link in like human evolution because of how it stands and like looks according to
Mhm.
some of the sightings. Like it's very similar-esque to like monkeys and
Yeah.
primates, humans.
A bipedal
All the
primate.
evolution.
You mean we're just animals?
No more.
Oh no.
Do you have sources you want to share?
Yes. So hangar1publishing.com/blog/cryptid/Wyoming Bigfoot sightings.
That's a long tittle.
HTTP. You don't need that.
No, we don't need that.
County10.com/most of Wyoming's Bigfoot sightings.
Most.
Those are the sources.
Thanks,
Yay!
Craig. That was fun.
That
was
What a
fun.
wild ride.
That was a wild ride.
Oh, something we forgot to say. If you want to see our beautiful little faces,
Yeah.
you can watch us on YouTube now. We have
Yeah.
actual video now
We
for the
do.
past like 3,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. We started with the haunted petses
And
then
then
ghost ship.
ghost ships.
and this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Woo. Can see how fun we are in real life.
Yeah.
I don't know. Shut up, Shandy.
In the interweb,
I don't know.
IRL.
Yeah, that.
IRL will come through your computer screen.
And you
Oh,
can
Yeah.
join the seance.
And
Yes.
you will join the same.
Yeah, thank you for joining the seance
Thank
Yes.
today.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for all the support and listens and stuff. And please send us your stories.
Yes.
Bigfoot
Any
story.
creepy story, anything,
Anything.
Any and all.
or a suggestion you want us to
Yeah.
cover.
Yeah.
And if you send us a story or something fun,
Yes.
I will send you a surprise.
Yes.
If you tell me how to send it to you.
Yeah.
Okay? Little incentive there.
Yeah.
If you want my little witchy goblin hands all over something I'm going to send to you,
Yeah.
send me a story.
Oh, we forgot to mention this
Oh, yeah.
is the first of a series
yeah.
that we're doing. State by state cryptids. So everyone always starts with Alabama, Arkansas. So we started with Wyoming.
Because
Because
we're
we're unique
different
and
and
different.
special.
I'm not like other girls.
We're not like other cryptids.
We're not like
But-
other witches.
Yeah. But yeah, so
Yeah.
Wyoming was bottom of the list, so we started there instead.
Yay! All right. Well, thanks, everyone.
Yeah.
Visit us on the Tiki Talkies.
And Instagram.
It's Everything's at Seance with my
Everything
siblings.
stands with my siblings.
Our email is seancewithmysiblings@gmail.com.
Yes.
That's where you can send your stories.
Yes, please
Please
do.
and thank you.
Yes, and thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.